20 to 25 miles per hour blowing. Actually, it's kind of out of the right field area toward the third base dugout.
It's a little bit different, I will say, as a pitcher. If you've got high winds, it's always a better day when they're blowing in. So a little bit of a different scenario than what we saw here Friday night when there was a little bit of a stream pushing straight out to right field.
Savannah Morgan in the leadoff spot. Oklahoma, that familiar shift that we have seen throughout this series as they play 3 infielders on the left side and 2 on the right side, and only 2 outfielders. Nobody home out in right field. Taylor Panels had a great weekend so far for the Lady Volunteers as Morgan fouls this one off. Do you feel a little claustrophobic at the plate if you're Savannah Morgan? This is the way that she's been defended all weekend, with 7 essentially people on the infield and only 2 in the outfield. They've got her surrounded, so to speak.
Yeah, and it's paid off for the Sooners. There were a couple instances, especially off of Landry on Friday, where the defense and the pitch location played directly into the setup, and we just saw it there again with the called third strike.
Landry only 2 strikeouts in 8 innings back on Friday, gets 1 to the opening hitter this afternoon.
And the setup of that infield and the outfield shift was irrelevant when you hit a spot like that for Landry to open up. Good to see Landry early on in this game finding the strike zone and establishing the corners early.
You see 141 pitches that she threw, a career high. That was back when she was at Louisiana, 3 seasons at Louisiana. This was her first as a Sooner.
That stat really shocked me, honestly. Looking at seeing her career high in pitches on Friday, 125. Broke her previous pitch high in a ball game.
This one the first easy play. 1 hop over to the bag for Sydney Sanders.
And if the top of the first is any indication, it just shows that she's gone nearly her whole career being extremely efficient. When you've got pitch numbers being that low, nearing 100, barely over 100 each ball game, I mean, that's a normal day at the ballpark for most pitchers, throwing over 125 pitches. And the fact that Landry keeps her pitch count so low just shows how efficient she is.
High fly ball, right field, and sailing into the Tennessee bullpen. Out of play. Wind is going to knock that ball down a good deal, but I don't know that it would have had a chance to leave the park, even on a non-windy day. Now, if it's blowing out of the south, it's got a chance.
I think a south wind may have pushed that a bit, but not here today.
What a weekend so far for Panel. She's now tied in the SEC for 5th place with 12 home runs. Panel solo home run to right center field yesterday at the top of the 4th inning, and she's 4 of 7 in the series. 3 hits in the Lady Vols win on Friday.
And Panel does such a tremendous job in the box. She's not a one-sided hitter. She does a good job of hitting the ball where it's pitched, and a lot easier said than done, but does a tremendous job of just tracking pitches on the inner part of the plate, on the outer part as well, and just sending it back where it came from.
A strike 2 from Landry. Said she needed to make adjustments as far as the strike zone is concerned, and she was a little bit wild back on Friday night. Hit a couple of batters and walked 3 in that game. This one popped up. Retreating the shortstop Garcia into shallow left center. 1-2-3 inning in the circle for Sam Landry and the Sooners. The Oklahoma batting lineup comes your SEC Pitcher of the Year and architect of the fastest pitch in softball history. 78.2 miles per hour this past Monday.
The velocity is everything that anyone has been talking about Pickens, but what is so impressive about Carlin Pickens is how well she works her pitches and tunnels her pitches through the zone. She is a north and south pitcher, uses that rise ball, uses that drop ball, and when you throw that hard and you're consistently in the mid-70s, that rise ball looks a lot harder coming in those eyes, and then you're able to change speeds with the changeup that is also very deceptive and effective. It is no doubt that she is one of the best in the country.
And she's about 6'1", 6'2", and so her release point, how important is that? She's closer to the plate when she lets go.
Well, she just has those long levers, And everything, when you've got a pitcher who is over 6 foot tall, who's got those long legs, those long levers, I'm going to use that word again, striding out, it feels like 43 feet turned into 30 feet really quick. And again, that velocity is there, but it's so much how quickly the ball just gets on you out of her hand.
That went down and in, and you see Pickens kind of nodding her head. You get used to what the strike zone is going to be. Scott Mayer's behind the plate. Alex Leap is down at third, and Tatum Stolting is the first base umpire. Chopper to third, cut off by Panel, and she's able to retire Abigail Dayton to start things.
Really nice location coming from Pickens.
So here you go. That is the 78.2 mile per hour pitch. There have been some posts, I think, where it's been a different pitch that was actually more in the strike zone. That was a ball, but it was 78.2 miles per hour.
I don't care where it's at.
Exactly.
You hit the bull, I don't care at 78 miles an hour. It's such an unbelievable feat.
And the prior fastest was a former Lady Volunteer, Monica Abbott, for the Chicago Bandits. That was in 2012 when she threw that one in. You know, maybe the most important thing that Kieran Weekly has talked about is this is a platform now for Coach Weekly and the staff and players to be able to talk about the teammate in person that Carlin Pickens is.
Well, and it's so easy, especially with how instant everything is in our lives now with social media, and again, so many people having access to that video and seeing the record be broken.
Now, the wind factors in on that ball. It's a different wind in this ballpark. We need to talk about that a little bit, because that's going to be caught by Gabby Leach, who, by the way, made the defensive play of this series back on Friday night. Normal day, okay, so if it's a south wind, that's a home run. Normal day, it's caught. North wind, which is rare here, it's a dropped foul ball. That's how different this park plays.
And you could just see Leach, that was not her just absolutely misplaying the ball. That ball got hung up in the wind, and what looked like a routine fly ball to right field all of a sudden started shifting foul and just out of the reach of Leach.
And Pickens says it doesn't matter, I'm bringing the heat. She strikes out Nelly McEnroe-Marinas.
And there's that rise ball just working the ladder straight through the zone, and such a tremendous pitch on 2 strikes, taking that rise ball, starting as a strike and ending up in the eyes. And what makes that rise ball so deadly is Pickens' go-to is the drop. So able to just change those eyes consistently with that type of velocity behind it. You cannot sit on one pitch and you see a lot of chases outside of the strike zone.
Do you have a favorite name for the fastball, the blazing fastball, the heat, the cheese, the cheddar, the flamethrower?
Gas.
Gas.
Just pure gas.
It's just the flame emoji, I think, that's the most popular. Maybe we could put that on the scouting report, just the flame emoji.
That's easy. I like it.
It'd be tough to retire Pickering. Nobody has in her last 13 plate appearances. The other side of that is, how challenging is it to catch that kind of heat if you're Sophia Nugent back there?
And especially, and as great as pitchers are, every now and then they tend to miss a spot, cross up your catcher. It's a lot more difficult when it's coming in. And that pitch hitting the gun at 75 miles per hour when it's coming in the mid-70s. Pitch across the plate or up and down, it really, I think, is a testament to Nugent and what she's able to do behind the plate as well.
Make it 14 straight reaching base for Cassidy Pickering now. She draws the 2-out walk. Pickering, she's one of those players, kind of quiet, a little unassuming, very professional type approach. And then you look up and the stats, they're not quiet or unassuming.
They hit you in the face. And I think something for a player like Pickering that almost kind of gives her that unassuming vibe is she's just consistent. You know, day in and day out what you're getting from Cassidy Pickering in the box. You know what you're getting from her defensively, because she's a tremendous defensive outfielder as well. And we've seen her in left, we've seen her in right throughout the season. And it's quietly consistent.
Gabby Garcia had her first career triple as an Oklahoma Sooner. was kind of lost in the sun yesterday out in right field and came in to score. That's her lone hit so far this weekend. To Hopper, to the second baseman, Ella Dodge, and the inning is over. LSU won on Friday, and then Missouri and Ole Miss, they're playing the first 2 games of their series today, and they'll play game 3 on Monday. So you got something to do on Monday. You can watch the final game of that Missouri-Ole Miss matchup.
There you go. Best part of SEC is they play, what, Monday afternoon softball?
Yeah, you get the mic'd up Mondays. So you get to hear from players and coaches during the broadcasts. And you get that extra game, which is the game in which Carlin Pickens threw that fastest pitch ever, was a Monday game. Here's McKenna, Gibson, Nugent, and Dodge. There's that off-speed pitch that can make Landry so formidable.
And that's something that took her a little bit of time in game 1 to establish. And I would like to say that that probably led to a few jams that she found herself in, of not having that off speed established early in the game. So seeing that adjustment and then going right after Gibson with the curveball on the outer half.
So that's 2 strikeouts, already as many as Landry had in 8 innings back on Friday night. And here is the SEC scoreboard. Alabama, Georgia, bottom of the 6th, as they're playing their rubber game. Ole Miss and Missouri, as we said, they're playing 2. Rubber game between Texas and Mississippi State as well. And the Longhorns on top early.
It's wild to look at I feel like every weekend when we're looking at SEC scores, there's always massive ball games going on. But what I'm excited about is looking forward, going, this league is so tough, and anyone can beat anyone else on any given day in this league. I'm curious to see what this is going to shake out and look like about 3 weeks from now.
Or what's it going to look like May 6th through 10th in Athens, when everybody gets together for the SEC championship. Here's Sophia Nugent. She was the hero back on Friday night against her former team. This one in the air toward right field, and the wind going to knock that one down into the glove of Pickering for the second out.
Huge outs. 5 straight retired for Sam Landry to start this ball game, and hammering the strike zone. Nearly every at-bat has been a plus pitcher's count, so going into that strike zone early and allowing the Sooner defense to do their job.
Here's Dodge. Landry she looks a little different. And she even said after the game the other night, she said, hey, that's on me to adjust to the strike zone and where I need to be locating things.
Yeah, and that's part of the gig, right? It's easy as a pitcher or as a coach or as a fan to walk away from a ball game and go, that strike zone was not it. But that's not how things work. You've got to find a way to make those adjustments, and I feel like we're seeing from Landry so far in this game a little bit more pace with how she's going about her pitches. She's getting the ball quickly, coming back and getting on the rubber, so really working a little quicker. Again, that word efficient is what I think of when Sam Landry is on.
Mealer's had a good solid weekend in Norman so far, as Landry touches the outside edge with that one. Mealer 3 for 7. She had 3 hits and a run scored back on Friday night. The Middle Tennessee State transfer, second season as a Lady Volunteer. And pulls this one foul.
Back-to-back off-speed pitches coming in from Landry. One thing I noticed on Friday, this Tennessee offense really, you could see all of their foul balls were going in the same direction. And you saw that timing and that rhythm of each of these hitters looking like they were on time and hunting a very specific pitch.
Check swing, foul ball, in on the hands. And so the count remains 2-2.
So Landry coming in and really throwing a lot of off-speed pitches. She's thrown 7 so far in this ball game, and we're only in the 2nd inning. nearly every batter who's come to the plate has seen something off speed.
Off the plate and fair, just picked up by Emmerling, who throws out Nealer. It is 6 up and 6 down for Sam Landry in the circle for the Sooners, who come to the plate